For decades, fast food represented something simple, cheap, quick meals for working Americans, a burger, fries, and a drink for a few dollars. But somewhere along the way, that promise broke. In 2024, McDonald's customers walked into their local restaurants and discovered that a Big Mac meal could cost over $15, not at a sit down restaurant, at McDonald's. The Golden Arches, once a symbol of affordability, had become something different. And across America, low income families who relied on fast food as an affordable option found themselves priced out entirely. This isn't just about one chain. From Burger King to Chipotle, from Wendy's to Taco Bell, fast food prices have surged at rates that outpace nearly every other category of consumer spending. Between 2019 and 2024, the average McDonald's menu item increased by approximately 40%. That's not a typo, 40% in 5 years. So what happened? How did the cheapest food in America become unaffordable? The answer is more complicated than you might think. Let's start with the most obvious culprit, inflation. In 2022, the United States experienced its highest inflation rates in 4 decades. Everything got more expensive: gas, rent, groceries, everything. But here's the thing, fast food prices didn't just rise with inflation, they rose faster. While overall inflation peaked at around 9% in 2022, grocery prices jumped 11.4% that same year. In fast food, it climbed even higher. The gap between what you earned and what you could buy widened dramatically. Ask yourself, are you making 40% more today than you were in 2019? Probably not. Most Americans aren't. That's the core of the problem. Prices went up, but paychecks didn't follow. But inflation alone doesn't explain everything. To understand why fast food got so expensive, you have to look at the entire supply chain. Start with beef. Ground beef prices have fluctuated wildly over the past 5 years due to extreme weather events, rising feed costs, and labor shortages in meatpacking plants. Then there's labor itself. Fast food restaurants faced unprecedented hiring challenges during and after the pandemic. To attract workers, chains had to raise wages. That's a good thing for workers, but it also means higher operational costs. Add to that the rising cost of fuel for delivery trucks, plastic for packaging, and even the cardboard for those iconic fry boxes. Every single input got more expensive simultaneously. Now let's talk geography. Not all fast food costs the same across America. According to a 2024 study by Net Credit, California ranks as the most expensive state for fast food in the entire country. Prices there are over 20% higher than the national average. And it's not just expensive, it's getting worse. California's fast food price premium spiked almost 12% from 2023 to 2024 alone. 6 of the 10 most expensive cities for quick service restaurants are in California. San Jose ranks 3rd, San Francisco 5th. Compare that to West Virginia, the cheapest state for fast food, where prices run almost 10% below the national average. That's a 30% gap between the most and least expensive states. Why is California so expensive? Part of it is the state's higher minimum wage laws. In April 2024, California implemented a $20 minimum wage specifically for fast food workers. That's nearly double the federal minimum. The law aimed to provide living wages, but it also forced chains to raise prices to cover labor costs. Then there's California's higher cost of real estate, utilities, and compliance with state regulations. All of those costs get passed down to the consumer. A Big Mac in San Jose doesn't cost more. because the beef is better. It costs more because everything about operating a restaurant there is more expensive. But here's where it gets interesting. Labor and supply costs explain some of the price increases, but not all of them. Fast food chains are also businesses trying to maximize profit. During the pandemic, many chains discovered that customers would keep buying even if prices went up. So they tested the limits. They raised prices not just to cover costs, but to expand margins. This is called price optimization, and it's a standard corporate strategy, but it has consequences. McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczynski acknowledged this in a call with investors. He noted that low-income consumers are being squeezed by high rents, expensive groceries, costly child care, and now pricey fast food. The very customers McDonald's was built to serve are being priced out. The numbers back this up. McDonald's reported fewer visits from lower-income customers in 2024. So did Chipotle, Burger King, and Wendy's. These chains watched their core customer base shrink. And when you lose customers, you lose revenue. So the chains responded the only way they know how: value menus. McDonald's reintroduced budget-friendly options. Wendy's launched promotional deals. Taco Bell, which maintained the smallest price premium in California, leaned into its reputation as the affordable option. These value menus are designed to lure customers back, but they're also a tacit admission that prices went too high. There's another layer to this story, and it involves delivery apps. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. These platforms changed how Americans order fast food. They made it more convenient, sure, but they also made it more expensive. Delivery apps charge restaurants commission fees, sometimes as high as 30% per order. Restaurants then raise menu prices on the apps to cover those fees. Add in delivery fees, service fees, and tips, and a $10 meal can easily become $20. Suddenly, fast food isn't fast or cheap. It's slow and expensive. The convenience comes at a premium that many low-income families simply can't afford. Let's zoom out for a moment. Fast food was never meant to be this way. In the mid-20th century, chains like McDonald's revolutionized the food industry with assembly line efficiency, standardized menus, and rock-bottom prices. A hamburger cost 15 cents in 1955. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $1.50 today. But a McDonald's hamburger now costs closer to $3 in many markets. That's double the inflation-adjusted price. The business model that once delivered unbeatable value has been reshaped by modern economic pressures. And it's not just about dollars and cents, it's about access. For many low-income Americans, fast food was a reliable safety net. When you worked 2 jobs and didn't have time to cook, a $5 meal from Wendy's could get you through the day. But when that same meal costs $12, it's no longer an option. You're left choosing between eating less or spending more than you can afford. This is food insecurity in a new form. Not a lack of food, but a lack of affordable food. So where does this leave us? Fast food chains are caught in a bind. They need to pay workers fairly, cover rising costs, and maintain profitability. But they also need to serve the customers who made them successful in the first place. Some economists argue that the solution is broader wage growth. If paychecks rise to match inflation, affordability problems solve themselves. Others point to supply chain innovation, urging chains to find cheaper inputs or more efficient operations. And some say the era of truly cheap fast food is simply over, that the golden age of the dollar menu was an anomaly, unsustainable in the long run. What's certain is this: fast food is no longer the bargain it once was. The social contract between chains and consumers has shifted, and millions of Americans are feeling the consequences every time they look at a menu board and realize they can't afford what used to be the cheapest meal in town. The question now is whether the industry can find a way back to affordability, or whether fast food will continue its transformation from necessity to luxury. Because if a Big Mac becomes a splurge, then something fundamental about American food culture has changed. And we're only beginning to understand what that means.